Hello and welcome, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the top 10 Ark Tames to look forward to in ASA. I all do know that you can get these tames already through ASA, but their maps haven't been released yet, so that's how I'm doing this list. Anyway, let's get into it. In at number 10, I've decided to put the Vonaur, and I really do love this as an Ark creature. I love its concept, and I love how it was kind of outputted into the final game. I just love what Wildcard really did with the creature, and obviously Extinction is still not going to be in ASA for a while. You've got the center first, then Aberration will probably be one of the next things. Sorry, Aberration. Always get that wrong. I need to rewire my brain at some point to say Aberration and not Aberration, but at this point I've been saying it for so many years I keep forgetting. But yes, Extinction is definitely not close round the corner, but still it will come out within the next year or so, at least I'm hoping, and this will be a really nice thing to see in Ark, and I'm sure Extinction is going to look amazing when it comes out on ASA. Already Scorched Earth and the island look really good. Scorched Earth especially over the island. The island's got a few issues with it still, but compared to Scorched Earth is doing leagues and leagues ahead of what the island has, so hopefully the center continues that trend, and I'm sure Extinction, Aberration are going to be really great going to the future as well. And I just really love this creature's abilities. I find it to be really useful as well. Easy one to tame too, and I can't wait to see it in ASA. Next up, we've got the Snow Owl, and this creature is here because, come on, don't we all love a little bit of Snow Owl in our Ark lives? It is just so good as a creature, and again, coming from the Extinction map, you can get it on Fielder as well, but that's going to be even further into the future compared to Extinction. So Extinction is going to be the map that we see the Snow Owl on first. The model obviously isn't going to be different, it's mainly the map around it, but it's still going to be just as useful. They obviously do have that dive bomb ability, although they can't deal any damage with it. It is still used as a form of agility for them, and they can get around with some significant speed. Yes, maybe not quite as fast as the Griffin, but arguably I find this just to be a much better creature than the Griffin anyway, so that doesn't really bother me. They also do have a kind of infrared ability where you can see any creature around you that will give off any kind of heat, which as far as I'm concerned is all of the organisms that you'll find within the game, and this is useful for any given PvP or PvE scenario when you need to find a given organism, that being a player or a small creature or just one of your own 10 creatures. You can even use it like night vision. You also want to pump that stamina because they can heal creatures too by freezing them in place, then it will heal them, and the more stamina you have, the longer it can heal up those creatures for. It doesn't matter what they are, be it your own, be it enemy creatures, or be it wild ones. Very useful if you're taming something, let's just say a Giga in this instance, and you've got its health down really low. Probably won't happen, but still, you can just freeze it, heal it up with this thing, and then keep tranking it instead of having to wait for absolutely ages for it to heal up, because that is something which we all really don't want to do, and with this creature you don't have to do that anymore. Of course, also the Snow pellets are very useful with Gactus as well. You can get some insane loot out of them, and all round they're just really good tames. Very easy knockout one, so it's a no-brainer to get one, and I can't wait to see this thing in ASA as well. Next up, we've got the Astrod Delphus, and I really do like this creature from Gen 2, so it definitely is actually going to be a while until we see it in ASA, because Gen 2's a bit further along in the pipeline, but that doesn't really matter either way. Getting back to what I was saying, I really do like this creature. I like its ability and agility. It's just so fun to ride around on, and you can really get places with it. And if you think, well, all the element is just really expensive, the amount of element that you can get on Gen 2 is absolutely insane, and you'll have no issues at all. And also on Extinction you can get quite a significant amount of element too, and that map will already be accessible, so I'm sure, especially if you're doing transfers or you're on like a cluster server and you're going between maps, you already have sufficient element anyway. And the saddle level can be a little bit tricky, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue if you just put the effort in to actually go up to that high of a level. I'm pretty sure you're going to need to defeat some bosses and get some ascensions to actually be able to unlock the saddle. The Tropio is a great other creature to look forward to in ASA though, if the Astrod Delphus isn't what you're looking after. and I find that that creature will be good as well, and I'm definitely looking forward to it, so I guess it gets a brief honorable mention here. But yes, it's just a really fast, agile flyer that can get around, and it also can deal some damage as well, like the Tropio, so this one shoots lasers, and that other one shoots grenades, and it runs on gasoline, whereas the Astrod Delphus runs on element. Apart from that, they're pretty much the same thing, really. At number 7, I've decided to put the Crystal Wyvern, as I find that this is something which I can't wait to be an ASA. Obviously, Wyverns are just going to be a really cool integration to the game, but this is really going to add to it for me, as I love this as a general creature. Considering just how easy they are to tame, it is just insane that people don't talk about these things as much as I do. I always feel like the Wyverns get a little bit too much credit for what it's worth when you factor in the Crystal Wyverns, and they are significantly easier to tame, which is why I put them in as just being a better tame, and that is why I look forward to them so much. But obviously the Wyverns as well, and I guess a brief honourable mention is probably deserved. And it's not like they're useless, they are still very good creatures in their own right, but with a passive tame as easy as this one, the only real difficulty being that you have to knock out Crystal Wyvern to get some Primal Crystal in the first place, and obviously you have to be level 60 as well, but no, runs really aren't particularly difficult, and knocking out one of these things can be easily done, especially with the assistance of a net gun or a basic trap. It really is not going to cause you all too much difficulty. And I find with that, it's just so simple to tame, and a Blood Crystal Wyvern is my all-time favourite. But I know those of you out there really like the Ember Crystal Wyvern, and I could agree with you there. That is a very nice Wyvern too. All really great tames from the Crystal Wyvern family, and when they're this easy to tame and you get yourself the full Wyvern experience, if not better, because I find the elemental abilities are more useful, it is a no-brainer, and I really can't wait for these things to be an ASA. And I find as maybe more of these creatures are in the game because of what maps are out, I like the game even more. The Rock Drake, another aberration tame, finally said it right for once, is a creature which I'm sure we're all really looking forward to when it comes to ASA. Obviously, aberration, like I've said before, is going to come up relatively soon in the scheme of ASA in terms of just when maps are going to release, as it isn't too far on. You can still probably expect to wait at the most a year, I'm going to say for it. Weird way of phrasing it, but either way, at the most a year, and then this thing will probably very comfortably be in the game, and I can't wait to start using this creature again in ASA. Obviously, I use it a lot just generally all the time, and especially when I was playing Aberration. That was a really hit creature for me. Sorry, Aberration. Said it wrong again. I'll get there eventually, I promise. Yes, they are just so good for travel on that map. They can't be undermined for it. And also, they're great on Gen 1 as well. I find through the bog biome, they could be quite an effective traveller. People don't give them enough credit for that, but they really do extremely well from all that I've gathered in using them there. And the Bloodstalker does very well as too. And, you know, that's a creature which I can't wait to be an ASA as well. I'll give it a brief honourable mention here, as I haven't actually put it on the list, and I would put it a lot higher. I just, you know, I think these other creatures will be a lot more popular with you guys as well, and the Bloodstalker isn't widely used for what I really like it for, but I would probably put it around the number 2 or number 3 spot for my preference. But it's not on the list, but I'll give it an honorable mention, and I'm saying if that is a creature that you really like for the use of underwater travel, then for this list I put it in the number 3, number 2 spot. That's about where I do it for all these creatures on the list, but I find that these ones are probably going to resonate with you maybe a little bit more. At number 5, continuing the aberration theme, I've decided to put the Reaper on the list, and I know all of you really do love this creature, and I definitely thoroughly enjoy it as well as a tame, and it is going to be so great. Honestly, Aberration is one of the most atmospheric maps out there, and with a creature like this being in it, it's going to add, and with the graphics of ASA, it is going to look so well, so great, sorry. And I actually do wonder about the performance. Is it going to be significantly better, improved, or is it also just going to perform quite rubbishly? As you do find with maps like this on Ark, they do perform just a little bit worse in a lot of cases. That's probably down to my CPU at the moment, why I'm getting a few performance drops in the game, because I think a 3090 is quite comparable, especially considering I've got the F-Star 3 frame generation mod on, so I am still using frame generation within the game of ASA as well, but I'm just talking about ASE here. A 3090 is definitely sufficient. I'm pretty much cranking the game to full, and I could easily get 60 if I wanted to, but you know, a good CPU is really up there for me to get in the future. I've only got a 3800X, a Ryzen 7 3800X, but I'm thinking of maybe a 5900X or a 7900X going to the future, but we'll see how this year pans out, shall we? Yes, this is a really atmospheric creature, it does a lot of damage, it's got great abilities, and I just love it as a creature, can't wait for it to be in ASA. At number 4, we have got the Des Modus, and this, again, it's not going to be in the game for a while, because the order's a long way down the pipeline, to say the least. It's like the most recent map that's came out to Ark, so, you know, it makes sense a little bit, doesn't it? Either way, with a creature like this, it is just such a good one for my ASE playing. It is the same taming method as the Bloodstalker. You just get blood bags in the inventory, it's going to take it out of it. And obviously this doesn't need a saddle, which I'm pretty sure the Bloodstalker doesn't, if I'm confident on that. I don't know why actually I am saying that, because the Bloodstalker definitely does not need a saddle. But the main thing that this creature does for me is that Sang Elixir, instant 30% of the knockout tame done like that, just boom. And I'm not sure if you can do it past turns, I haven't actually tried it, but you might just be able to click E for that first feed and 30% of it's done like that. But either way, that's a great thing for me to have. And they also can farm blood bags too. They're great gliders as a general creature. Well, obviously they are flyers, but they have that dive bombing ability. They can go invisible at the night as well, but because I was in the wrong biome for this, I couldn't test that out for the B-roll. But yeah, really great creatures. Then number 3, I've decided to put the Maywing, and this is obviously again going to be quite far down because Gen 2 is a long way away in the pipeline of maps to come out. But either way, this is like the best glider and travel mound out there. Obviously you can still use it in ASA at the moment, but I'm talking of when that map officially does release for these creatures, the main map that they originally released with, because that's how I'm judging this list, like I said in the introduction to this video. But they are just so good at gliding and flying, and they can be unlocked at level 18 because that's the saddle level. Probably want to be level 21 though, because with Trank Arrows it's much easier to get a significantly higher level 1. Just put some signs down, trank these guys out, and then that saddle you should be able to craft with relative ease. Not really expensive, and then boom, you've got yourself the best glider in the game. It is absolutely insane how easy these things are to tame, which is why I look forward to them being in ASA so much, as they are just so good and so useful to use all around. They also do act as a portable feeding trough as well, which is just generally really nice, and I enjoy that for when I'm doing breeding or maybe getting some mutations onto creatures. The Gigantoraptor's a good one as well, but obviously that is already in ASA and isn't in ASE, so it's an only ASA thing. They can also gather berries as well, and they're pretty good swimmers. Then number 2, I'm putting the Shadowmane, and this is where I put the Bloodstalker as well. Like I was saying when I was talking about the Rock Drake, you know, this is where I would actually put it. Not even the number 3 spot, in the number 2 spot, but the Shadowmane is going to be the main creature here, as it is just packed full of abilities. Again, a Gen 2 creature, so it's going to be a while, but that's beside the point. I guess you've got more time to enjoy the wait and really anticipate how good it's going to feel when this creature is actually into the game. There's actually something to be said for that. They have an incredible amount of mobility though. They can jump to great heights and get around with absolute ease. You'll find no issues with the traveling abilities of these creatures. On top of that, they do have the hydration buff as well. They're the pack buff, making them really great for boss fights too, and they have natural armor, obviously with no saddle, which is unlike the Wyvern, which has no natural armor and not a saddle. They're also really great swimmers as well, and they actually can be used for the mode boss fight, which is also not in ASA, because you know, Gen 1's still not in the game yet, and it still won't be for quite a bit. Actually, I'm pretty sure no Gen 1 creatures on this list apart from the Bloodstalker. But anyway, let's continue to the spot number 1. And in number 1, probably like my favorite Ark Tame really out there, is the Deinonychus. I love this creature to death, and I just can't wait for it to be in ASA. Not actually sure when Valguero is on, it's going to be implemented into ASA. It's in the pipeline somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's not as far as Gen 1 and Gen 2. It might be after Extinction or before Extinction. I'm kind of putting it around that spot, so maybe year and a half, 2 years at most, I'm saying, until this creature's in the game. Again, I've completely forgotten the pipeline. I might as well just chuck it up on screen right now if you do want some reference of what I am talking about or trying to recite over. But either way, they spawn on Valguero, only Valguero, in the chalk cliffs. At least I think they're called chalk cliffs. I was going to say crystal cliffs, but that's a completely different thing. I'm pretty sure it's not even on Crystal Isles. That, yes, Chalk Cliffs biome in Valguero. They have the pack buff. Essentially what you do to tame one is you get the egg out the nest they have, and then you'll want to escape because all those Deinonychuses are going to aggro onto you, and then it's going to raise it, and then boom, you've got yourself Deinonychus. They got the pack buff, they take no fall damage, they are great for doing all kinds of parkour and things like that. They're great for bosses as well, as they can deal bleed damage to them. Obviously they can grapple onto them and just tear them to shreds with that bleed damage ability. It is really insane what they can do. They can climb any kind of wall, vertical surface, as well as they are just insane creatures for doing all of this stuff, and that is why I just merit them so much as creatures, and it's why I really do look forward to them the most out of any creature in Ark to be in ASA. So today I decided, why not just talk about some Ark and my thoughts and feelings on the game and what I think I'm just going to do as a whole, just generally as an update for all of you guys out there. This isn't going to be like the most accurate, extensive deep dive into everything that's going on in Ark at the moment, and I'm not intending it to be. If you want that, then go watch Raasclark's news videos. They are honestly amazing. They are going to give you all the information that you need. But either way, let's just get into the just generals that you'll probably want to know. Scorched Earth is planned to come out, not Scorched Earth, sorry, the center, already off to a great start. It's coming out in early June. I think it's June the 3rd, although you probably can expect maybe a delay or two, but you know, hopefully not, and that's when it releases, and it's releasing with the Shastosaurus, and I think a lot of you are really excited for that map, and I am as well, although I haven't been all too much playing a lot of ASA, so I'm not as excited as some of you out there, but it is definitely a big thing. And it was also looking like Nitrado made quite a big mistake in a way with that partnership with Snail Games, as they've completely cut back their Spanish audience, just eradicating it entirely, and they've had some cutbacks on staffs as well, and it looks like they're not doing as well as they originally thought they would financially. So it's just Snail Games boasting about how much they actually make, even though in reality they seem to be in quite a lot of debt at the moment, and that's maybe not the best for them, is it? You know, thinking about it, I think Snail Games needs to get on top of themselves a little bit more, and obviously with Nitrado, for the next couple of years, they'll be your only server providers for ASA, and that really does give them a lot of competitive advantage to just completely change everything up as they please, and they have done a little bit of that, although the audience backlash has kind of put them into some form of place. Obviously there are some things which you can do to get around it and run your own servers, but they're not the easiest things in the world, and most people are still going through Nitrado. But the thing that they seem to be most worried about is when that contract ends, they might be in an awful state because of their reputation being absolutely thrown out of the window, and then other competitors which are much better respected actually being in the market for people to use, and that is going to vastly improve all of that, all of the community experience for the servers for some, as they get to use the server providers that they love, and that's actually a reason why some people have just been going back to Ark Survival Evolved. I could say myself included there as well. As ASA, don't get me wrong, it is a very nice looking game, and it really is a level up of Ark Survival Evolved, but for me it's just not so much better that I will warrant playing through all of that again, and I want to play through some other DLCs which aren't on ASA at the moment, and from my point of view that's perfectly understandable. I'm not here today to hate on ASA, because that's simply not what's needed. We don't need to promote more hate for the game, we need to try and give it as much chance as it possibly can, otherwise there's no point in it doing well. It just essentially everything that the developers do to the game to try and improve it, there'll just be backlash upon backlash, and it's not going to make the game any better. We all need to go straight for it with the best mindset, and this will get a lot of peace of mind from the developers, and we might actually see some real improvements instead of just shouting them all at the developers to actually do things. If we maybe kindly ask them a little bit, then some more things might actually get done. Just an assumption of mine, but you know, if we take a calm approach, we actually might have a much better time with everything. Also, the animated series has like fully dropped nationally, although it's not actually in all the countries, but now it's just not the USA and Canada. You can have it in like Austria and the UK and Spain and places like that. I think they're there. I'll just put the countries on screen right now actually, because I might as well, because I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. So yeah, that is good that it's all out there, and loads of people have done extensive dives into the animated series. Some people were saying, when is there going to be a physical copy? There might not be a physical copy because, you know, understandably a lot of people don't want a subscription to Paramount Plus just to watch the Ark Survival Evolved animated series. If it came to Netflix, that would actually be quite cool, because a lot more people do have that, and then maybe I would join in a bit more with that as well. But sadly, I do not have a Paramount Plus subscription, and I'm not just going to do it just to watch the animated series, but it has definitely received some good reception, and I'm glad that has been so successful. They've also actually added along with it Bob from the animated series, as far as I'm concerned, with like some of his extra lines on all the emotes, and you can be him in the game and do all those extra emotes and cool things too. And it, you know, he looks a little bit weird, but you know, all the animated skins do in Ark anyway, and it continues at that theme. Now, to talk about probably the last thing that I would bring to attention for this video is just generally what am I going to do with Ark and just everything as stuff goes forward, as I have been going into a lot of other games recently off the channel, and I'm enjoying those a lot as well, but I'm not sure they would catch on quite as well as Ark. And obviously Ark is still a game which I really love, and I want to keep playing it, and obviously I want to keep doing those top 10s. A lot of you have been wanting tutorials as well. I'm going to double down on that, and some more tutorials will be out soon. I'll work on recording some, and obviously I might try and do some of these more chilled videos as well. It's easy from the editing side of things, it's easy from the production side of things, and generally they're quite fun to do, and it lets me be open with you guys about my thoughts, and then you can share your thoughts as well, and they don't actually tend to do too badly, so you know, I don't really hate them for that whatsoever, and I like doing this style of content as well, just a bit more relaxed, and it just adds a lot more variety as well. Also, if you are wondering about the 2 video a day thing, I'm just putting a compilation out earlier in the day just to see if it can grow the channel a little bit more and gain some financial benefit from it. If you feel like you have to watch all of those, you don't. I'm not forcing you to. I'm just trying to bring in new viewers through that, and it has been working over the past couple of days, and we have been seeing a little bit more traction on the channel. So if you were wondering about that, that's what I'm just using it for. And actually, talking about mods on Ark Survival Ascended, they are really going well. I am loving all of the new mods that we're seeing. Like, we've got like a new kind of shark in the game, and some armor and some cookware, and there's loads of stuff all the time with mods in ASA, and it really is just such a cool community that we have. Because I want to end this video on a good note. I don't want to be like what I have been in prior times and just complain about things. I want to end saying that we really do have a great community here in the Ark Survival Evolved Ascended world, just the Ark world in general. And if we really push this game to its limit, and all those modders out there keep modding, doing your thing, it is really looking good. But if we do all of this and we keep supporting the game, then I'm sure it will get into a state which we can all be very happy with, and I'm still just very glad that this game exists.